At some point, he's going to say, there's one more frontier I have not conquered, and I got to go try it, even if maybe it won't make me happy to go do that, but I got to go see if I can do it, because obviously he conquered that frontier the way nobody has as a player. So I'm intrigued by it, but I do think the near future of him, maybe the next 4, 5, 6 years, I think he's at Colorado.
He's not. Look, here's the deal in terms of college football in the NFL. There's no difference. I don't know. I forgot what he's making, whatever, $5.5 million. They're moving into the Big 12 conference. That number's going to go up. Okay, they're going to redo Prime's deal.
They will.
Very soon.
Agreed.
So that number goes up. In terms of the mountains behind him and all of those sort of things, where else is he going? Like, there's nowhere else to go. You are in the landscape of college football now. Now that you've moved to the Big 12 conference, they're realigning the way the playoff thing is going to go. So you're in the mix pretty much every single year. Those numbers, that financial number is going to go up. So you're going to make the same type of money that they would make in the National Football League. It's just if it's a desire to ever want to coach in the NFL and deal with what Richard is saying, guys come in late, guys out all night, just grown men stuff, opposed to a kid that just left the prom 6 months ago. That's what you got to gauge. Do I want to deal with a guy with a full beard, a car seat in the SUV with 2 kids, or do I want to deal with a guy chasing him and telling him you got to go to class or you're not going to play? Which one do I want to deal with? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. But the kids are more moldable. That's all I'm saying.
They are.
In NFL, my first year in the NFL, it blew me away because I thought everybody wanted to win a Super Bowl. I thought everybody in the National Football League wanted to win a Super Bowl. Everybody was headed in the same direction. Everybody was playing to win. We get late in the season, my rookie year, and I'm not going to put no names out there, but a guy said, why would I want to go to the playoffs? I take a pay cut in the playoffs. And I said, what are we playing for? Like, we not playing for it, but I'm a rookie. I can't tell this dude is a 10-year vet.
What was his name,
But he's saying, I'm not saying no names. Hey, Keyshawn, I got nothing for you. But when I heard that man say that, it blew me away because I'm like, bro, I'm here to win. That's all I'm here to do. I don't care if you take a pay cut or not, you know? But that's what you kind of deal with sometimes in the NFL that's different than college. All these kids in college, hey, now you're not getting paid your own scholarship. Well, some of them getting paid now. It's a little different, but they want to win. They're there to listen to my coach so we can do everything we can to get towards a national championship, a Pac-12 championship. We're all on board. And in the NFL, you might not have that. There are guys that play for the money. There are mercenaries out there. I do this for the money. I could care less of whether we win, we don't win, we go to the playoffs, we don't go to the playoffs. And so that's the kind of stuff that would burn Prime up and have him leaving the locker room with 32.
Yeah, no question. I had way more fun in college football than I did in the pros. Sure. I had way less stress.
Yeah, I got it. All right, let's talk about the job that Deion has done coaching the Colorado Buffaloes this year. Allow me first to make a point to the naysayers out there. Yes, they have lost 3 straight. Yes, they have lost 5 out of 6 to fall to 4 and 5 for the season. And yes, this is for my wife, Ernestine. She walks by every Saturday when I'm watching Deion's game, and she stops and looks at the score and says, I thought they were supposed to be great. No, that's the point. They weren't supposed to be great. They turned it completely upside down from a team that was 1-11. The shock of the year, the miracles happened early when they went to TCU and beat TCU, even though TCU is now 4 and 5. The shock to me was they beat Nebraska at home, even though Nebraska's 5 and 4 and really doesn't have any signature wins this year. They did come back with a miraculous comeback to beat Colorado State 43-35. As you recall, Colorado State is 3 and 6, and they did win at Arizona State. I thought that was a very good win, even though Arizona State is 2 and 7. So combined records of the 4 teams they have beaten, 14 and 22. But the point was, they weren't supposed to win a game this year. The point is, they only had 1 embarrassment the whole year, and it was obviously that 42 to 6 at Oregon. In these other Pac-12 games against your Trojans, I thought they hung in and they were pretty good. They were respectable. They were pretty good. They had Stanford down 29. Richard Stanford, they had them down 29-0, and they blew it and lost in double overtime. But they put up some hellacious numbers in the first half. They hung in there with UCLA. It was 28-16. Oregon State, they hung in there and lost by 7. These are miraculous performances to me for a team that has all kinds of holes in it. You better get them now, because if I look at them, okay, this does not speak well. I'm going to be completely objective. It doesn't speak well to the coaching that they are second in the nation right now in penalties committed. Their inability to run the ball is simply the worst in the nation right now. That's not coaching, that's just talent. And they have allowed, they're tied now for the most sacks allowed in the country with the Old Dominion of all teams, because they don't have an offensive line. So they can't run block and they can't pass block because they don't have any linemen. Well, look, 4 and 5 is again, it's a tribute to Deion that they are 4 and 5.
You know, I just heard you, right? You talked about the naysayers, and you talked about the schedule and all the different things. For me, for the naysayers, it's not even about the W's and the losses. You got to remember, he came in with 86 new faces. Put them together collectively. Hey, let's put this together in year 1. A year ago, they were 1-11 at the end of the season. They've already won 3 more games than a year ago. But what's so mind-boggling to me is when the naysayers got something to say, you got to look at the big picture of everything. Forget the on-field performance. Forget about that. Because they're no different in my eyes than the USC Trojans that ain't playing the national championship. They ain't got a shot to play in it, and neither does Colorado. So to me, that's the same thing, okay? And on top of that, when have you seen a 4 and 5 team sell out? They sold out last week against Oregon State. Every home game this year has been sold out. Yeah. Completely.
Oh, I thought you meant on the field, like selling out.
No, I'm talking about in the stands.
Yes,
4 and 5, and you're selling the stadium out.
Great point.
Not only are you selling the stadium out, you are bringing national eyeballs to the university. And as you continue to build and get better, the admissions raise. They're going to raise up. People are filling out applications for their kids to go to Colorado, to go to school there, because it's the cool place to go. All of that is important. And I think the naysayers forget about some of those things. And they think because it's Deion, and they started off smoking hot, and he was on our show, and they were tight. So now they come back and bite us and say, well, I thought they were supposed to be good. You know, your wife, well, I thought they were supposed to be good. What happened?
She just,
it's like,
she doesn't know.
They were never going to be good like that.
No.
They were just now making a dent in their presence felt in college football, Sharon. That's all it is.
Yeah, and it was a cool story, and it still is a cool story. It was cool to see it develop as early and as quickly as it did. It's cool to see Shedeur get to the next level and play at the same level he was playing at Jackson State and get the respect that he deserves. But Deion said it before the season, how many players he was away from having a true team. He knew the problems he had up front, offensively and defensively. He said it. And if you look at the recruits they're bringing in, I mean, they have never brought in, they haven't brought this caliber of recruits in probably 2 decades. And consistently on the sidelines, week in and week out, the celebrities that are there week in and week out, it's going to change next year. Their recruiting class, I would guess, is going to be top 10.
Man, Richard.
Their transfer.
They just got the top quarterback in the class of 2025 to commit to them. You know how many other schools are mad right now that he is headed to Colorado and Deion?
Good point.
100%. 100%. And it's going to be, now that he's come, their other dominoes are going to fall, and it's going to be great receivers coming. It's going to be offensive linemen that come and transfer portal. I think it's going to be more transfer portal for the offensive and defensive line. But the amount of talent and 5-star, 4-star recruits that Deion is going to be able to walk into their living room, look their parents in the eye, and get those guys to say, hey, Colorado is the place for me, is incredible. And so, I mean, this story has been cool all year. They're 4 and 5. Hopefully they get 2 more wins so they can get bowl eligible. But either way, it's been a successful season for Prime in Colorado.
I second that emotion, but I also in all objectivity, they're playing Arizona at home. Do they have a shot to win that game? Sure, they have a shot, but they are 10.5-point underdogs at home.
I understand.
Just for the record. Then they have to go to Washington State. It's going to be tough. I don't think you played there, right? Did you
I
play
went
up
up there
there?
and played.
Okay, all right.
It wasn't tough.
It wasn't tough at that point, but it can be a hard place to play.
No, it's a very hard place to play.
Yeah, okay.
We just had a good team.
You had a good team. All right. Finally, they end at Utah, and Utah's pretty good. And it's going to be hard to win the last 3 games. So let's do the worst-case scenario. They finish 4-8. Well, I'll be the first to say up here at this desk, we were all talking about, what, 8-4 at some point? Maybe we got a little carried away.
But self-inflicting wounds, like you mentioned, penalties.
Yeah.
What was the score against Stanford? 29-0?
29-0.
They walked in at halftime at 29-0 against Stanford. We all thought that Stanford would have been studying at halftime on their next class or something. They came out and took, I did that for you, though, Richard. I did that for you. But when you look at it, though, Skip, only game in my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they did not have a chance was Oregon.
This is the only game.
That was it.
Yeah.
Other than that, they've been in everything.
You know the UCLA game, were they ever really in it, but they hung in there.
They hung in.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm talking about when you looked at it from the outset.
Yes.
The Oregon game was like, God, I got to still watch it even though,
that is
I want to turn it off.
Yes, because we were heading there the next weekend. So, okay. Way to go, Coach Prime. Coach those Cowboys someday out there somewhere. Up next, Dylan Brooks goes after LeBron James again. Here we go.